three-pointed crossroads with I standing in it. And the reason for the title orthogonality, which is probably obvious if you've drawn a diagram for yourself, is you are standing orthogonal to the plane that you're standing on, and you're sticking up from it at right angles in every direction. And there you've got...
Can you tell me what
orthogonal... Orthogonal means at right angles to. So you can only draw three orthogonal dimensions. This is how to prove the existence of dimensions, is to use orthogonality and then run out at three. And in order to get any further in your quest, you have to invent the concept of time and call it the fourth dimension, otherwise you're fucking lost.
Well, indeed, I love the geometry of that, but also like how useful. But I also think that I've never found it that complicated to imagine the fourth dimension, which involves...
Well, you're a writer and an imaginer, so imagining things and using basic narratives to like sketch things in other people's minds is second nature to you, but some people have serious problems with it. For example, if they read the word "I am the light and the way" on a piece of paper, they assume that it's the voice of God speaking to them about something they couldn't possibly understand.
Yeah.
So given that, like, certain cures were needed, or at least sticking plasters in the narrative form in order to get beyond this building block in the story so far.
And I think one thing that was perhaps like not well translated in the kind of I am thing would be the difference between invention and discovery. The fact that the Christ fucking experience was not necessarily an invention, it was a discovery. It was the discovery that this is something innate.
It wasn't even a discovery, it's what's called a realization.
There you go. Well, exactly. But the way that it was communicated through text and all of the rest of it was as if it was an invention, as if it was, I don't know.
It was retrospectively inventized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, what's important about all of this, like the realizations that we're having as we go on with this bit of creative storytelling that we're currently engaged with, is noticing that everything is true as we go along and working from there. Like, we're building up from zero, which is like simply being a lost particle in the universe with no defined variables, to an individual at an imaginary three-pointed crossroads in a story that is being told by you and I and heard by a potential third other undefined receptive agent. And what we're doing is speaking a language that we call Anglish, which is basically English, but like assumed to be a basic program, a programming language that we use to communicate truth rather than opinions that we're arguing at each other. This is how to be truly creatively compatible. It's to speak a different language than the ones people used to argue with. So the book that we're currently writing, because I'm recording this now so that we've got a record of it, and we're sketching a book that starts off as a children's book for like 7-year-olds, and it's about how to time travel. It's written by an anonymous corporation called the Time Travelers Guild that we founded well over a decade ago. Yeah, you've heard of it, yeah. So far we've got a protagonist author reading its own book in a story that's defining the variables of time and space, matter, reality, imagination, strangeness and charm in itself, with pictures. And we're on page 3, which is pretty good. I'm really pleased.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've thought about this a lot, like, particularly kind of with the thing. Like,
Yeah.
just also with just Elixir projects as well. That, I mean, it's an audacious. Well, obviously.
If you weren't so modest, you'd assume that you were you had like serious delusions of grandeur, talking about a project that was going to fix humanity.
But even if it was a project that could just modestly address and talk to children through music, through storytelling, and then build up from that. And again, like as we said earlier, like turn the world into a creche, into a school, into a warm environment where like the beta programs are able to be kind of humbly and kind of gently kind of tried out, and hopefully over time like just enabled to be effective through
a sandbox that's allowed to exist in a material plane.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, exactly. A sandbox.
Yeah. So all of this is the School of Time, which is the independent school that we all send our children to, that I dedicated my future inheritance's real estate to for perpetuity by trust. And you're one of the trustees. So it's like a generational covenant. And I'm the current only resident of the School of Time's main headquarters in Wales. I'm the caretaker of the School of Time, which I said right in the beginning. That was the character that I wrote for myself just before I joined university. Islington with a Z, which is a scene. So to sketch a bit of detail in the background of the three-pointed path in the fairy tale that we're drawing for children, the location is a location in Hackney.